Hi, so my name's Dave Craig. My background is an embedded software engineer specializing in audio and video. This talk is going to be about Soundscape for Android app. It's slightly different from most STA projects. It's not linked to just one charity, and it's really quite a large project. Um, so a bit of background. Um, So the original Soundscape was an iPhone app from Microsoft Research, started about 10 years ago, and at the peak had 60,000 users. So it's aimed at visually impaired people, and it helps them navigate and explore the world. It's got two ways of doing that. One, it describes the surroundings, and the other one is a thing called audio beacons. Now, the main part of this talk is I'm going to give a demo of the app, and hopefully those things will become clear. Um, so about 3 years ago, Microsoft Research decided to turn off the servers. They open sourced the code, and so at that point, the STA put in a big effort so that they could build the iPhone app and started running the server. So the STA's got a bit of history here. Um, so the challenge for us was to create a Soundscape version of the app. An Android version of the app. Um, So initially, the aim is to match the iOS behavior and interface. Uh, so we also want the app to work worldwide in all countries. It needs to be able to scale to tens of thousands of users, and it needs to be sustainable from a cost perspective. Um, and that cost is basically the cost of running the servers that provide the mapping data. So a small group of us have been working on it for a bit over a year. It's all totally new code. It's all open source, so it exists on GitHub. And we launched it on the Play Store in beta about 3 weeks ago. So when we did that, I was thinking, well, it'll just make it easier for people to get people to test it, and we'll have maybe a couple of tens of people. But word got out, and it does seem it's an app that people really do want. So we've currently got, I think, maybe 500 or 600 users. That graphic there is the breakdown by country. So there's a lot from the US, but also a lot from lots of other countries. Quite a lot in South America, Europe, Asia, and increasingly some in Africa. Um, so that's basically the history and where we're at. I'm going to give a demo. I'll talk about After I've done the demo, I'll talk about some of the different ways you might be able to help with the project, because there's lots of different roles we have in order to help keep the project active. The demo I'm going to do is from a perspective as a sighted user and developer. So where users are visually impaired and blind, and I'll go in a little bit into some of the things in the app that make it easy for them to use. But most of this is just going to be using a graphical UI and explaining in that terms so you can understand the purpose of the app. So with that, let's switch to this. Okay, so the user installs from the Play Store, and there are a series of onboarding screens which I've skipped through for time. Basically, they let you set your language. There's little bits of blurb explaining what the app does, but you've got me, so I can do that. Main areas of the app, so there's a menu bar at the top, there's a search bar, that's for searching for geographical locations. I'll go through the three buttons under that, and then there's the map. So the map is showing a red triangle. So this is all mirrored from my phone. So as I turn my phone, you can see the red arrow moving around. This is also inside, and so the GPS isn't the greatest. So you'll see slight movements around as it jumps around slightly. But the app is designed to deal with this. So first thing I'm going to do is have a look at places nearby. So the graphical map is actually optional. So if you're a blind user, it serves no purpose at all. So you can switch it off in the settings. Um, and more useful for them is the places nearby. So that's taking the map data and just turning it into lists. So if I do all places, it lists.
Ahead service.
Oh, it's talking to me. Yep. So it lists all the points of interest near me. So because of where I live, it's stiles, post boxes, bus stops. There are different ways you can filter that. So I could look for the convenience store. There's one, the Mill Guy Mini Mart's not that far away. And then we've also got an intersections section, and that shows every road junction and every path junction nearby. So if I want to click on any of these things, so I'll click on this Blaine Road, Roseley Drive junction, and I'll get a map with a marker at that point, a little red 1 at that junction. And this is the location details. And wherever you click on the map or whatever you select, it'll bring up location details and it gives you these options. You can either start an audio beacon there, you can save it as a marker, which is basically you have a database of markers. So these are points that are of interest to you that you have added to the app. You can share it. So if I click share, I can send that to Slack or WhatsApp or whatever for someone else to look at. And then the other one is Soundscape Street Preview. And I'll give you a demo of that at the end. It's kind of a teleporting simulation for using the app, because obviously I'm static in my office at the moment. But first thing to do is I'm going to start an audio beacon at that location.
Beacon set on Strathblane Road, Roseley Drive, 120 meters away, 1 of 1. Distance to the audio beacon 125 meters.
So you can hopefully hear the text-to-speech describing what it's just done, and also the little beacon sound, which is quite quiet at the moment, and that's because I'm facing away from it. So as I turn the phone, the sound changes to indicate that I'm getting more towards it, and it's also over in my right ear at the moment. So it's best to listen to this in headphones. You get a much better idea of the spatial nature of it. And then as I turn round, the sound moves into the center between my ears, and you also get this different pinging, which means basically it's that you're dead center onto it. So if I go past it, it's now over to my left, and it's gone a bit duller, the sound, because I'm not facing directly at it. And there's a little GPS jump there. So there we are. So that's
distance to the audio beacon 125 meters.
That's the basis of audio beacons. The other way you can use it is that you can use it without the sound. So if I mute it there with the mute button, and what that does, that'll just give the text callouts. So if I'm going by bus, I could set an audio beacon on the bus stop I want to get off, and it'll count me down the distance to get there. So you know, wake me up when I get near my bus stop. Now, once you've got one beacon, the next obvious thing is to create a route, which is like a playlist of beacons. So here, I'm just going to do that. So I'm going to create a new route. So I'm going to tap on the plus button at the top, and I'm just going to make a route to the post box. Now, I think different users will use this in different ways, the number of waypoints you add. I'm going to add quite a few just to make it clear what I'm doing. So I've no markers saved already. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to select them from intersections. So I'm going to pick the end of my road. There we go. I'm going to say, yeah.
Marker created.
There we go. That's my first marker. And then I'm going to create one on the next road along. Oops, that's not the one I wanted. There we go.
Ahead service. Marker created.
And then finally, I'm going to add in the post box, which is there.
Marker created.
Okay, so now I've got three markers. I could reorder them, but they're in the order I want, so that's fine. And now if I go to that route, I can see where I am, and then I can see 1, 2, 3 with the markers. And so if I play that route, start route.
Beacon set on Strathblane Road, Roseley Drive, 120 meters away.
So there we go. So if I start walking towards that marker, then when I get to the marker,
Approaching intersection. Service. Goes left. Roseley Drive. Continues ahead.
So when I get to the marker, it'll automatically go to the next one.
Beacon set on Strathblane Road, Lynn Drive, 140 meters away, 2 of 3.
And then when I get to that one, it'll move
Beacon
the
set
third
on
one.
post, 200 meters away, 3 of 3.
Now, although when I'm waving my phone around, that's all great, but actually most of the time when I use the app, it's in my bag. So when you lock the phone, what it does is instead of using the direction the phone's heading, it's using the direction of travel from the GPS. So as you walk down a road, it goes, okay, you're walking west. It figures out which road you're on, and that's the direction that it's using for the audio beacon. Which means you don't have to have the phone out. You can just have it in your bag, and it's just giving you little helpful
Distance to the audio beacon 200 meters.
About where you are. So that's routes. Let me just stop that playback. There we go. Next thing I'm going to give a little, so in order to see how it works more realistically, I think the best way is to use Street Preview. So to demonstrate that, I'm going to go to Queen Street. Glasgow Queen Street. There we go. So that's searching using a web service. So it's a server in the cloud. Now, I actually want to start off just at the Queen Street entrance, which is there. So I can long hold on the map, and I can move the location details to that point. So as always, you get the option Start Audio Beacon, Save as a Marker, or Street Preview. So I'm going to enter Street Preview. So like I said before, this is
at crossing.
More of a work in progress. And it's based on the iOS behavior. And what that behavior is basically you have teleported to this position. So, the direction of my phone is still working. I can wave it around and move. And as I point in different directions, there's a button which lets me go down that street. So, same as the iOS one, what it does is it jumps to the next intersection. So if I want to go down George Square East, I tap on the button.
Approaching intersection, North Hanover Street, goes left. George Square, continues ahead. Bike parking.
So that's what happens in real life. As you approach an intersection, you get about 15 meters away and it describes the upcoming intersection. What's slightly different is that in real life, it'll be calling out every point of interest as you pass it. So every 10 meters, it'll say, oh, Greg's, Costa, bus stops, benches, things that are of interest. And basically, it helps you orientate where you are. And you learn these things. As the idea is that you learn these descriptions and they're consistent and they always come out the same. So in Street Preview, I can then just continue along the street.
Approaching intersection, North Frederick Street, goes left. George Street, continues ahead. George Square, goes right. George House.
And then I can turn right and then go down George Square South.
Approaching intersection, Cochrane Street, goes left. South Frederick Street, continues ahead. George Square, goes right. City Chambers.
And that's basically it. So these are the two aspects, the describing what's around you and the audio beacons, and they can be combined. So You can disable both of them, or you can use them both together. So if I was going to the post box, I might just set a beacon on the post box, and then I'll get the descriptions of the intersections so that I come up to them, and that means I know where I am. So things that are important for visually impaired users. So we're learning more as we go, but initial things. So the map theme is based on the uh, color theme for the phone. So when you turn it on, if you've got a light theme or a dark theme, it'll automatically switch, and the map does the same. So for users who basically can't read bright screens or can't read dark screens, it means that the map is going to be suitable for them. So I can go in and I can switch to a dark theme, uh, or I can just use
Ahead service.
the system theme. Um, we always use high contrast. The speech engine is actually really important. So one of the things we realize, especially worldwide, is that people use different speech engines, so text to speech. So I've got all these ones installed. Google's my favorite. Unfortunately, they don't name their voices, but you learn
Main
which one I
Street
like,
goes left.
and I like it a bit
Main
faster.
Street goes left.
So there's all these settings. Those are the settings to configure the speech. You can choose which voice. Some users like to have different voices for different things. So one of the things that happens when you're using apps like this, if you are visually impaired or blind, is that you might be using a screen reader. So the main screen reader by default on Android phones is called TalkBack. I'll give you a little demo of that. I am not an experienced TalkBack user, but it gives you an idea of the sort of things that it does. Other people use different screen readers, and so there's quite a variation. So let's just enable TalkBack.
Talk back on.
So now that TalkBack's
Menu.
on,
Button. Window Soundscape. Double tap to open the menu.
so the green button, the green border is around the current focused item. And if I swipe right,
Sleep. Button. Double tap to put Soundscape to sleep.
it basically moves across, and it moves from top left down to bottom right through all the things on the screen.
Showing a map created with MapLiber. Scroll. Current location. Button.
So
Double
what
tap
I
to
demonstrated
preview,
there,
mark, or share your current location with a friend.
if you single tap anywhere on the screen, it'll immediately jump the focus to there. So if I just tap on my location,
My location. Button. Double tap to hear about your current location.
and then I could double tap on that,
Facing north.
and I can swipe left to
Around.
get to around
E.
me.
Button. Double tap to hear about places in the 4 quadrants around you.
So when I say swipe left, I'm swiping right, and then if I swipe left,
My
it goes back to my
location. Button. Double tap to hear about your current location.
So from a talkback perspective, this is how a lot of users will use it. So then they can't see the screen at all, and so we have to be able to describe everything that's happening on the screen via talkback and give hints and a full description. I'm going to disable that.
Talk back off.
But it's important that when using the app, we understand that there's a lot of speech going on, and trying not to talk over, talk back, and make it less tiring to listen to is really important. The only other thing from usability point of view is actually the languages. So we started off with the same language as the iOS version because we use a lot of the same strings, but people have done Ukrainian and Farsi. Arabic is almost complete, and Russian. So we're getting new languages added quite regularly.
Ahead service.
Farsi is the first language that we've done, which is a right to left language. So the whole user interface swaps. So the menu is now at the top right. But if I press on my location, is that my location or is the other one my location? I can't hear that. Oh, yeah, okay. So the audio is gone because I switched language, but basically it gives you an idea of that, language support is really important. You can't just expect people to speak in English. And that's basically the app. So let's switch back to this screen. I think I covered everything I was want to cover. Just checking. Yeah. So how can you help? And that's the
Ah,
thing I'm interested
service.
in. Oh, let me just quieten the app. So I mean, one of the things really is people to understand the app and how it works for users. That's something that anyone with an Android phone can do. And once you've got that, there's lots of things you can volunteer with. So we have a help desk. There's a support email, and when you write in an email, it comes to the support portal, and then that gets distributed amongst help desk support volunteers. This week, I answered requests from Panama, Egypt, Japan, Iceland, America, Brazil. So, we're getting calls, we're getting messages from all over the world. Quite a few of those were offering translation support, which is great. Often it was just requesting slightly better features. Maybe their text-to-speech engine for their language didn't work, things like that. But all these roles are going to be going onto the volunteer app soon. But the help desk one is quite an easy one where it would just be when an issue comes in, just to have little conversations via the help desk with the users and understand what the issue is, and then file it in our systems. We're hoping to have newsletters to kind of give updates on how we're progressing. Initially, we might have those every couple of weeks because development's changing a lot, but eventually that'll, die back a bit, and we'll have maybe just every month or every couple of months with newsletters explaining changes. Test management. So one of the interesting things we have is, so we publish on the Play Store. So the Play Store gives us lots of, I'm just trying to move this bar out of the way. How do I do that?
Service.
Drag it. Yeah, there we go. So, oh, what happened there? Resume share. Sorry about that. Play Store gives us lots of information about how our releases are going. So we have an internal testing group, we have a closed beta testing group, we have an open beta group, and eventually we'll have a production group. And so, there's 2 people in the first one, 20 people in the second one, 600 in the third one, and then however many people in the production. And so through Play Store, we can monitor
service,
how each of those releases is going, and make sure that it's everything's stable. On top of that, the role, you can also monitor our analytics tool, which is called Firebase. So here you can see that in the this is the active users in the last 30 minutes. United Kingdom, that'll be me because I've been using it, but we've got a user in Peru and a user in Iceland as well using it. We also, so this is where that map of the world showing our users comes in, we get different events. So we can add events in to monitor for errors. We were having problems with the geographical search, and so we could add an event to try and track those. And these are the sorts of things that a volunteer to help monitor and figure out ways to solve issues. I was hoping to click on Crashlytics and show there had been no crashes, but unfortunately there has been a new crash recently. So this is we've got automated crash set up, and so we get reports back, and then we fix it and roll the fixes into the next release. So test management via Play Store. If anyone's interested in learning about how to use Play Store and the life cycle of an app, that's a great volunteer role. And then we'll be having planning meetings, which is basically people who are interested in the app and know how it works, planning for the next couple of weeks' work. Big push last few weeks and for the next few months, I suspect, is translating the app. Anyone with another language, it'd be great for people to come in and translate the app. We are set up on a portal called Weblate. This is what it looks like. These are all our languages. We've got the translated percentages. I haven't worked out how to approve translations yet, so the approval thing is not right, but the translated, so Ukrainian is 100%, Arabic is 100%, but it's failing some checks. So, but if you want to add a language, you can actually just log into Weblate and start adding a language here. You don't even need to find out about the app particularly. And if I go in, say, to Arabic, and then look at some of the strings, what you get is there's a screenshot giving you some context. There's some text describing what the string needs to be, and then you can add in a translation for it. And you just go through them one by one. And you can see here there's a whole host of Arabic translations. And then finally, I mean, server development is important. We have some, I think one of the big things that came out of user feedback is the need for offline map support. So that's the ability to download the maps for your area. And the reason for that is poor internet coverage, expensive internet on mobile devices. So if you can just download a map for your whole area and then it never has to use the internet, that's obviously a much better user experience in many parts of the world. So there's a UI we need in the app for that, which should be brand new, and there's also a bit of server work. If anyone knows anything, has any experience with Cloudflare, that would be great. That's what we're planning on use to distribute these maps. We do have all our servers are running at the moment, and they're great. They're all set up, but there are some automation tasks to do with making it easier to update the maps, so we can keep up to date with the latest OpenStreetMap data. But take a look at the volunteer app in a couple of days, and there should be all of those on there. And I think that's it. If anyone's got any questions, feel free to ask. That's the page where our automatic documentation is generated. So that's from GitHub. But there's the user documentation that appears in the help and tips. There's the link to install the app on the Play Store, and there's, from a developer point of view, there's various descriptions about how the app works. And that's it. Thank you.